Want to make a difference in your community but not sure how? Go to GoFundMe.com right now and start a GoFundMe. Seriously. Your next fundraiser doesn't have to start in a school parking lot or a church basement. You can start a GoFundMe today in just minutes. Fundraise for yourself, a friend, or family member, or an organization. All that matters is that you care about them. GoFundMe is the trusted place to fundraise for what you care about. With no pressure to hit your fundraising goal, but tons of tools to help you reach it, you can confidently start fundraising right now. Whether it's creative, local, or critical, your cause matters. And there's a reason why GoFundMe is backed by millions and chosen by fundraisers everywhere. It works, and it matters. GoFundMe helps you make a real difference. Start your GoFundMe today at GoFundMe.com. That's GoFundMe.com. GoFundMe.com. This is a commercial message brought to you by GoFundMe.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Streamed and Screened, an entertainment podcast about movies and TV from Lee Enterprises. I'm Terry Lipshetz, managing editor of the National Newsroom at Lee and co-host of the program with Bruce Miller. Retired editor of the Sioux City Journal and a longtime entertainment reporter. Well, first off, Bruce, congratulations on your retirement. I'm so excited for you.
Who would have thought, right?
Right.
But we're doing this, and
Yes.
we're doing other things, so I think we're still good. I don't think we have to worry about all that. But it was Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty. This is what happened. I had a great fall. I went to a Nate Bargatze comedy thing, did the review. I was good. I'm walking out of the building, and I fell. I fell on my elbow, and I fell on my hip. Broke both of them. I was in the hospital for 4 weeks, rehab for like 2 or 3 more. And I have been doing stuff at home so that I can walk again. If you can imagine that.
Yeah.
I have a cane with me at all times. You know, and it's like, really? But I've been pretty good about walking around the house without a cane. And they say as soon as that gets better, I can chance it. But we're hoping for clearance. And the good thing is I can get a lot of the screeners and I can see things. So I'm watching a lot of TV. I'm watching a lot of films. I'm still able to do the kind of things I love to do.
Okay.
But it's just, it's when you have that kind of twinge, you go, oh, what was that? Well, that was you moved your arm the wrong way.
Yeah.
So, So it isn't because I left you. Terry, I'd never leave you.
But I appreciate that.
I hope people don't. I hope people don't think that we just disappeared. We didn't. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall, and now we're trying to get all the pieces together again, and hopefully I'll be back in good shape.
You don't happen to have one of those real fancy canes like Lady Danbury on Bridgerton, do you?
No, I do. I honestly, God, it looks like something I wouldn't let my grandfather have, but it's very stable.
Okay.
And so I trust it. And then you think, what do I have to, if I get up in the middle of the night, will I remember to grab the cane or do you just walk?
Yeah.
But I have it so that I would run into it if I did. But it is what I don't learn. And I said, one of the strangest things was when I was in the hospital room, there was a whiteboard on there and they tell you what your vitals are. I know my blood pressure better than anybody. And on there it said elderly male fall risk. And all I could think was, oh no, I'm getting a roommate.
Who is
I don't
that
want a
person?
roommate. The elderly fall risk person is me.
Oh.
And so that was kind of an eye opener.
Yep.
And they always do not leave. You've got to put a belt on. We've got to get a belt around you so that you can walk. We'll walk you to the bathroom. You think, no, this is like, no, thank you, sir. But learning how to eat with your left hand, because I'm right-handed, has been a real challenge. And then just, kind of little things like that. You go, well, this is bad.
Yep.
But today I did drive. So watch out, people, because when I'm on the streets, it could be different.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're doing better. I remember, you telling me before we recorded our last episode, you're heading to Nate Bargatze and that's all coming up. And then we were planning, we do the shows and I always say, we'll be back again next week with another but we've been leaving you, the listeners, hanging for more than a month now. And
and
I
it
couldn't
wasn't
say anything, and I really didn't have somebody to record with, but I'm glad we're able to
yeah,
get to do this now.
you didn't ditch me.
No,
That's the best part.
right. I
So,
know.
yes.
So,
But we're back.
yep.
We're going to be seeing a lot and lots of good stuff. Can I tell you, Frankenstein is a big thing. I think it
Yeah.
starts this week on Netflix. It'll be a contender for something.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also saw Nuremberg. Nuremberg,
Oh, yeah.
big film. Did interviews for that. Rami Malek,
Right.
is making a comeback. Russell Crowe is very kind of scary.
Yeah.
I think in this, but it tells yet another story about World War II and the
Mm-hmm.
aftermath.
Yeah.
And it's 2.5 hours long, but it is one that I think you want to see. And
Okay.
then while we were gone,
Mm-hmm.
this is what gets me to want to come back, because I think, oh my God, Terry hasn't been able to expound on Springsteen yet, because I know that you love Springsteen.
I do.
And if we didn't get to talk about the movie, that would be criminal.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Here for the Lowe's early Black Friday deals? You're right on time for some of our biggest savings. We're talking up to 50% off select major appliances, plus up to an extra 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. Holiday lights going up soon? Select ladders are up to 50% off right now. Get Black Friday prices without the Black Friday crowds. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 11/19. Selection varies by location. Select locations only. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Yeah, so that was, of course, one of the things that we had been talking about for so long, the Springsteen movie, and I was really excited. I'm a huge fan, and yeah, I saw it. So you saw it. Have you seen it?
So, that was my first. Well, again, these are no, I didn't leave the house. I saw it, but I didn't leave the house.
Right.
But I did get to see it. So I can't say where I saw it,
Sure.
but let's just go with I saw it.
Yeah, you get screeners. We know how that works.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I saw it. It came out on a Friday, the 24th, I believe. I went to see it Saturday. My kids had some plans with my mom, so it became a bit of a date night for my wife and I. And yeah,
Excellent.
rare time out.
Does she like Springsteen, or is she like,
She-
if you
she-
buy one more record, I'm going to kill you?
A little bit of each.
Okay.
So she likes Springsteen. I've gotten her into Bruce more. I think it was more of a casual thing years ago, where she knew Born in the USA and some of the other songs.
Sure.
But for me, I grew up in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Springsteen fan, and I have been my entire life. So I was really excited to see this, and I will preface this by also saying this. My wife is she enjoys music, but she's not to an extreme like I am. She is not a fan of Bob Dylan, okay? But we went to
Yeah.
see A Complete Unknown, and she really liked that movie. So to me, part of this was, what would my wife's reaction be to the Springsteen movie? Because I'm coming at it from a slightly different angle, right? I'm
Right.
a huge fan. I read the book.
You know-
I know a
too
lot about
much.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm almost too close to it. For instance, there is a Facebook group called the Spring Nuts. Okay. that is what it's
Oh,
called.
wow.
And, every post about A Complete Unknown from the Spring Nuts, it's like, I've seen the movie 5 times. I've seen the movie 7 times. I keep going back. It's going to win Best Picture. Everyone here is going to get nominated. Everybody here is going to win. It's the greatest movie.
Right.
Is what, so it's like, you're kind of preaching to the choir kind of thing with that kind of group. So it's like, I understand that the Spring Nuts, of course, are going to come at this slightly differently than maybe my wife, who's not a Spring Nut. She likes going to Springsteen concerts with me. She's been to a couple. She likes listening to the movie, to the music. but she's not going to be somebody who, knows every little thing about his life. So I was also curious to see what her reaction to the movie would be. So first off, like, her reaction was the movie was okay. She did not love it. She liked A Complete Unknown a lot more than this movie. That's not to say she didn't like this movie. I looked over a couple times and there were tears in her eyes. It got a little bit emotional, but she didn't love it. For me personally, I read the book Deliver Me From Nowhere by Warren Zanes over the summer. It's a really good book. It's not a traditional biography. He kind of talks to Bruce at times, so it's part journalism to a degree.
Okay.
It's part
right.
biography to a degree. It's a little bit of everything. So it does take a very deep dive into the album Nebraska, of course, because that's what it's based on. But it's not like they took that book and then just rewrote it for a movie, because you have to dramatize it a bit. So, overall, I thought the movie was good. I don't think the script was great.
Good.
I don't. The script I think was okay. I think it was. I thought the movie was slow at times. It was a bit drawn out at times.
Did you like Jeremy Allen White or not?
Yes, I did. I thought Jeremy Allen White really captured Bruce Springsteen. I thought he did a good job. I know there was, again, thinking back to some of the comments I would see from the Spring Nuts, things like, he doesn't look like Bruce, he's got blue eyes, that kind of thing. It's like, look, these are actors. They're asked to portray the characters, right? Is Timothy Chalamet a clone of Bob Dylan? Of course not.
No.
Is Rami Malek a clone of Freddie Mercury? Of course not.
It's a matter of just giving kind of enough that you can recognize it in the person, but not. I mean, come on. What are you going to do? Put the real person in and then do that kind of erase thing so they look younger?
Right.
No.
So I thought Jeremy Allen White did a very good job at capturing Bruce Springsteen of the time. I think Jeremy Strong was outstanding as John Landau. I thought he turned in a very strong performance. Which Jeremy did I think was better? I don't know, maybe Jeremy Strong a little bit more than Jeremy Allen White.
The part I liked is how they kind of do that negotiating.
Yep.
Where it's like, well, no, this is what he wants to do. We're going to do this.
Yep.
Just go with it.
Yep.
And I love that, because we don't see that kind of side of things where they dig in their heels and they say, no, we're going to release it the way I want it to be released. We're not going to just go with whatever. Because, those people that think they know everything about what's a hit, they don't.
Right.
Otherwise, we'd have hits all the time.
Of course.
As I am a Springsteen fan, but I'm not at all at your level, not at all. I think there wasn't enough drama in all of it.
I would agree.
And I think part of that was, now you're going to tell me I'm wrong, but he didn't have much of a struggle in his life. You know how these other film biographies where you go, oh, he came up from a log cabin and he, couldn't afford to buy an instrument, so he whittled one out of I mean, that's kind of what we see with a lot of these musical biographies. And by the time when we start to see Springsteen, I think he's pretty successful.
Yeah.
And so there isn't this kind of like, well, how do we get over the hurdle? He's able to call some shots, and I'm surprised that they weren't a little more adept at that. You know how those kind of A&R people are they'll suck up to you.
Right.
And I was surprised that they didn't try to do more of that, because, you go, well, we got Born in the USA and in our pocket, so let's let him have this little crappy album that he wants, and then we'll go with the next one and we'll all make big money.
Yeah.
And you don't see that. And I thought, well, that would have been kind of interesting. But, it made me want to go back and listen to the album again.
Yeah, I think part of it too, and I understand what you're saying, and it's, I think, because it's not a traditional biopic, like most biopics take you, it's like here's the artist, here's Johnny Cash as a kid, and now here's Johnny Cash, right? Right, exactly. And they gave you elements of it, the black and white flashbacks with Stephen Graham as his father.
Right.
but it
And I
didn't.
thought he was good,
Yeah.
but so Dad has, and I know this sounds so bad, so please, people, do not think that I am justifying anything, but we all go through a lot of crap, and if a relative is responsible for that, okay, but that shouldn't be the hook
Right.
for this. And I'm not giving Dad a break or cutting him any slack, but things were different in those days.
Mm-hmm.
And if Dad said something, you just shut up and listened.
Yep.
Right?
Right. I think that, and then I think that's a little bit of a generational thing for one, because
Yeah.
that you're obviously older than I am, so the relationship you had with your parents, obviously, but well, you're 20 years older than me roughly, so
Yeah.
the relationship you had with your parents and the time they
Right.
grew up is different than the relationship I had with my parents when I grew up. I think they underutilized Gabby Hoffman, who played
Most
his mother.
definitely.
I mean, she was
Most
barely in the
definitely.
movie, and she's such a tremendous actor.
Yeah.
And Stephen Graham, when you look at what he has done in the past, year or so, adolescence,
Yeah.
right? He was
Right.
so good in his limited scenes here, but we needed more Stephen Graham. And I think if they would have added a little bit more to his backstory to really hone in on the mental struggles he had, because if you've read his book, if you read Bruce Springsteen's autobiography, Born to Run, it really goes in very, very deep into the struggles he's had with mental illness and kind of going through therapy and his doctor. Like, you only got a little bit of that glimpse of his doctor in the last 5 minutes of the movie. And if you read his book, the book goes in a lot more into, the struggles that he had, how they kind of paralleled his dad in a lot of ways, and how he really pushed through it. I understand, obviously, this isn't a traditional biopic where you're going to focus in on a very large chunk of his life, but I don't think they did a good enough job getting into the backstory and how that led into the album Nebraska. And then also, how he's kind of dealt with it since, where he's obviously, it's like mental illness and or your mental health in general. It's not something that you can just fix and, turn on a dime kind of thing.
Right.
It's a lifelong struggle, and we all have issues at times that we have to get through. So I think they could have spent a little bit more time on that.
The one-man show he did on Broadway that they filmed for, was it HBO or was it Netflix? One of those ones. I thought that gave me more about him than this did.
Right. Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Where I could appreciate more of the angst that went into kind of the work.
Right. So the script for this movie, even though it's based on the Warren Zanes book, Deliver Me From Nowhere, the script itself is actually based on a combination of that book, Springsteen's autobiography, Born to Run, and also his Broadway show. That's all. Those three pieces are really the bulk of the source material here. And, I think, again, I thought they did a good job. And I don't know if you've had a chance to see both New York Times and Rolling Stone did kind of those fact checks, like the fact versus fiction that they always do after biopics.
Right.
And we know, like, a complete unknown fudged a bunch of things. We know, like, Bohemian Rhapsody fudged a lot of things. This movie fudged virtually nothing. I mean, it is about as accurate as you can possibly go. I can tell you the biggest controversy in the Springsteen community right now is that scene in the movie where he goes up. Well, it's first off, the girlfriend is a composite, so that's basically the biggest fictional in it. But he knocks on the door, the little girl answers, and she's like, I had a hot dog, and he's like, oh, what did you put on it? Ketchup or mustard? And she's like, mustard, that's my favorite. And he's like, that's my favorite too. And every Springsteen fan who's read his book knows Bruce hates mustard. So, and it's like, he's just being nice to the girl. That's all it is. It's not there, but.
And this woman that they, this composite woman, I thought, well, did he have a wife before, the other ones? And so in the movie, I am scrolling through to try and find marriages.
Oh.
And thinking that there was like this unknown woman that suddenly disappeared and no longer is around anymore.
Right.
And it was nobody, because he had Juliana Phillips, the one
In
from
the 80s.
Sisters, and
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. That was after.
and
I think it was. I don't disagree with the idea of using a composite, because we don't need to see 4 or 5 different girlfriends at the time. But I think the one thing that you miss is the reason, he hadn't gotten married up to that point because he couldn't sustain a relationship, because he was incapable of having a healthy relationship with a partner at that time. And again, that's because of the mental health thing. Like I think in his book, he even said, like once we got to the 2-year mark, that was it, right? We couldn't, that was like all my relationships up until he finally got married and got the mental health under control. There was an expiration date on every relationship he had.
Well, he didn't want to get too deep into it, because then what would that mean? It could have been, not healthy for him, but we'll see. You never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fascinating. But they really captured the look of New York at that time, of the offices I look at all that. My God, somebody did research, because I remember that kind of shaggy carpeting that was all over the place, and I thought this looks exactly like it should look. So but I was fine with it. I don't think it's a contender for Best Picture.
No.
It could be nominated, but I don't think it's going to win at all.
Yeah, I think I feel like, because you have those 10 nominees for Best Picture, I do think it might get enough lobbying where it could be, like the 10th picture. I'm not going to say it's not going to get nominated for a film for an Oscar. But I would say that it probably has about as close to a 0% chance of winning as you can get, right? Like there's going to be 9 other films that will come out ahead of it, have a better shot. I don't think Scott Cooper is going to get a Best Director nomination. I don't think the script is strong enough for a screenplay type of nomination.
No,
I do think
sound or music,
costume design kind of things. And I do think both Jeremy Strong and Jeremy Allen White have a shot at Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor. But we've seen it before. With these biopics, like there's a very high bar for voters wanting to give an actor a Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting kind of thing. Like you just don't see it really. It's tough to, Timothée Chalamet, who nailed Dylan, didn't win. So he's got one coming this year that could be his make good, because they didn't give it to him. Right.
So we'll see how that rolls out. But interesting.
Yeah. Here's an interesting thing. Just before we move on, I was looking at Rotten Tomatoes, and this is kind of, I think, where the fans tend to always treat these movies in higher regard than the critics. So on Rotten Tomatoes right now, it's got that green splat, 59% from critics. But for the fans, it's at 83%. So it's got a bucket of popcorn, right?
Yeah.
A Complete Unknown had 82% certified fresh by critics, 95% beloved by the fans. So that one did very well. The Elvis movie, 77% from critics, 94% from the general audience. Bohemian Rhapsody, which, of course, Rami, he won Best Actor for that, right?
And I think that ruined it for the others.
Yeah.
Because they go, wait a minute here.
Yeah. And this is where I think Jeremy Allen White or Jeremy Strong might have a chance, because the numbers are really close here. So 60% on the tomato meter from critics, 85% from the fans. So Bohemian Rhapsody tracks almost identically to the Springsteen movies. So I think it has a chance at some nominations, but is it going to win? Probably not.
And Springsteen doesn't need an Oscar because he already has one.
Yeah, right.
So hey,
what he needs?
It is what it is.
Yeah, where he's missing is the Emmy. He needs the Emmy.
He needs it. Well, come on. They have to do a special about
He's
it
got
or
the got.
something.
He doesn't have an EGOT. He has the got. He has a Grammy, he has an Oscar, he has a Tony. He does not have the Emmy.
We got to get that. And the easiest one is the Emmy.
Right? It's funny.
No offense to anybody, but
Yeah.
I think because there's so many categories. I think Beyonce has an Emmy.
Right.
She got the Emmy for designing costumes.
Yes.
It isn't because she got it for performing.
I know. It's
So-
funny too, is Bruce, he's had multiple projects, like I think the Springsteen on Broadway, he was considered a producer on that for the Netflix version, so he's done multiple things that could have potentially gotten him an Emmy, and he just can't quite get there. It's funny.
What's the secret? Ask Elton John, because he did a special, his last concert or
Right.
whatever. And what did he get? He got an Emmy.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's what we need. But there's been a few things. He did that Road Diaries for Hulu a year or so back. Bruce did, and that didn't,
there are opportunities.
Yeah, it's just he'll get there. We know he'll get there, right? We're pulling for
Sure. You can't get it all in one year.
No. But yeah, no. Overall, I think, like, what would you give it? I don't know what's your rating system. Is this stars?
Well,
Is
I
it-
do
what-
stars. Yeah, I
yeah.
get 3 stars is what I gave it.
Okay.
Out of 4. 3 out of 4.
Yeah. I like, me personally, I would have done, like 3 out of 4, B+. I mean, it was not a bad movie. I'm a little bit annoyed at some of the critic responses, because it is not a 59% on the tomato meter to me. It's like, if it would have been 70, 75%, I would have been like, yeah, sure, that's probably
You
wait
wait till I put my numbers in there, and it'll go up, and you'll be okay.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So overall, I enjoyed it. Not the greatest biopic of all time. Had some flaws. Tremendous performances from Jeremy Allen White and Jeremy Strong. Two of the best Jeremys out there today. But it fell short a little bit for me. I will say this though, for the music fans, the box set that just came out with a remaster of the album. Okay, so that's number one. It had a LP of outtakes. It had an LP where he went into a theater and recorded the whole album front to back, and he also released, as part of this, the mythical Electric Nebraska sessions, because originally he went into the studio, he took that little cassette tape, and it's just going to be demos for the band, and then whatever it did with the band didn't live up to his standards. These performances are absolutely magical. Electric Nebraska, it lives up to all the hype that you can think of. But I will say this, I have multiple pressings of the album Nebraska, and I did kind of like a deep dive. Multiple copies. I have a 1982 original pressing, U.S. original pressing. I have a 1982 original Japanese pressing. And then there were 2 remasters, one in, I think it was 2014, and then one in 2022. And then you've got this one that just came out. The outtakes are great. The live thing he did in the Count Basie Theater in Red Bank with his 75-year-old voice, like adding this kind of, I don't know, something about his older voice that really works well with these songs. It's just tremendous. Electric Nebraska, great. The remaster on the album, absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Wow.
So, like, and I kind of reviewed it for some of my friends in the vinyl community. Skip, like, buy the box set, listen to LPs 1, 2, and 3, skip the remaster, and if you've got a 1982 original, it sounds better. Or if you want something newer, 2022 Vinyl Me Please did a 40th anniversary half speed master of the album. Absolutely wonderful. And the 2014 remaster that they did, they put it through what's called a plangent process, where they do some digital cleanup on the original, and it added new life to this. So, if you want, like, the original, the volume is a little bit low, because they couldn't really extract a whole lot out of it at the time, because you're going from cassette tape to a record. but these remasters from 2014, 2022, absolutely wonderful. The Japanese release from 1982 is fine. Anyone that collects records knows that like Japanese releases tend to be very good, like from a production, the jacket is really nice. The pressings are super clean, really, really good care. Sometimes the volume that they record at isn't to my liking. It's just like, I think, personal preference. So an 82 Japanese pressing is fine as well if you have it. But yeah, this new one, it fails miserably on the original album.
One of the things that surprised me is they do Born in the USA in a different version.
Yeah.
Is that on any of it or not?
Yeah. So the original version of Born in the USA that he recorded on that Nebraska tape, that came out in 1998 rather, as part of his Tracks box set, and it is on this new box set. It's cool. It's
good.
It's echoey. It has that Nebraska sound, but the cool thing is that electric Nebraska version of Born in the USA. It's a 3-piece, right? It's just Bruce on guitar and his vocals. You got Max Weinberg on drums, and you got Gary Talent on bass. It's like a 3-piece.
I bet that's good.
Oh my goodness. It's like just a garage band, basically. It's better than the version that came out on the 1984, in my opinion, at least.
Can I tell a Max Weinberg story?
Sure, you may.
When Letterman was just starting, and doing his thing, and he had Max and his band and all that, I had a friend, a friend's child, I should say, who was getting into drums because of Max.
Oh, sure.
And he adored everything that Max did. And so I thought, well, I'll just tell him this because, how many times do you think a kid who's maybe 14 is going to be bowled over by some old guy that's playing in a band on TV? And he was so excited about that. He said, here, will you do me a favor and give him this rosin bag? Because he said, that's what really helps when I'm playing is my hands are dry and I'm able to do a lot of the good stuff. And I said, well, you got to sign it. Because he won't believe me if I say it comes. Oh, he says, we'll do that. Well, so, all right, speed forward now. The guy is probably 50. Do I want to say this kid is now 50? And he still has it.
Wow.
He still has Max's
That's
bag
cool.
there from the. Yeah, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And I think, well, there was a connection there.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we don't let those people know that they are an influence on others. And they do get people involved in things like music. So God bless them.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Well,
it must be time. But yeah, and I bet you any money that if Bruce Springsteen ever went in the hospital, elderly male fall risk.
Oh, man. Well, I said it before. I'll say it again. I'm just thrilled that we are continuing the show. I'm glad. I know you're moving into a different chapter of your life, like retired Bruce. But that doesn't mean you're slowing down, right? I mean, you're still
retired Bruce, fall risk still,
right?
Yeah.
But you are still going to be reviewing movies and TV.
You bet.
You're still going to be doing interviews. Yep, and
Right?
we're going to continue doing this podcast, which has me super excited. I really am thrilled that we get an opportunity to do this each week, and we're going to keep doing it for a while. So I'm glad, and congratulations on your retirement.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, retirement. I don't know what it's like yet, but I'm waiting. I'm hoping it's going to be fun. I hope it'll be a good thing. But when the winter comes and it's snowing and I don't have to get out of the house, I'll be really happy.
Yeah, I know. Well, don't go out there and shovel on slippery sidewalks. Pay a neighborhood kid to help you out.
Old people hire that crap done. It's not gonna. I'm not doing it.
Oh man. All right. Well. Welcome back, and thank you for joining me on this, and we'll be back again next week, I hope next week, right, Bruce?
Yeah, should be.
All right, we'll be back again next week with another episode of Streamed and Screened.